Life doesn't have to be completely falling apart to make it feel like it's too much. Sometimes when you feel like you're doing everything right, you're doing all of the things that you think you're supposed to be doing, it still kind of feels like things are in utter chaos. Sometimes it's this constant pressure that maybe you need to do more, or you're not doing something correctly, or you're not doing enough. It just sort of feels off, and it's kind of hard to put a name on it, but maybe it's just your brain having this sort of low level overwhelm all of the time. I have a couple of theories about what this might be and some things that might help. So will it give us perfect lives? No. Will it feel or help us feel a little bit less chaotic? Maybe. So disclaimer here, these are not magical tips. I am not going to give you tips that are going to completely change over your life and make it perfect. That's not how this works. I'm just going to give you some things that have helped me feel like things are a little bit less chaotic, and maybe they will help you as well. All right, so the first thing is the mental load, or why your brain just will not shut up. So let's talk about brains for a second. Mine never shuts up. I'm always thinking all of the time about either what I need to do, what I've already done,
what I should have done better, what I could be doing, the thing I said at the Christmas party 2 years ago, the conversation I need to have next week, anything that I need to do, or any conversation I need to have, any plans that I want to do, any ideas, business ideas, ways that I want to decorate my house, videos that I want to do.
It goes on and on. So maybe you are not like that. Maybe your brain is not like that. And that is great. I'm so super excited for you. This tip is probably not for you, because if you don't have that problem, this may not be an issue for you. But if you do have this problem and you're like me and your brain just does not shut off, then maybe this tip will help. So what I like to do is I write everything down. Now, I don't write every single thing down that comes into my brain. I'm not writing down every single thought. If I did that, there would be just no time for anything else. I couldn't work, I couldn't eat, I couldn't do whatever. But the things that I feel like are important enough to remember, or important enough for me to come back to later, I will write those down. So if I have an idea about a business or something I want to do, like a video, anything like that, I will just write it down. And you can write it down on paper, you can write it down in your phone, you can give yourself a voice note, whatever. So I will put it somewhere and keep it. And then that way it is out of my head and somewhere else that I can go back to. So you can organize this however you want to organize it. And if you want a video on that, I could probably do an entire video on that on its own, because that is probably one of the things that helps me the most when I have this chaotic feeling that there's so much going on. Sometimes it's actually internally in my own brain, and then getting that out of my brain and putting it on paper or in a notes app or on a computer or something. It helps get that out of there, and it helps it kind of calm down. And then when my brain keeps reminding me, hey, what about this? What about this thing you wanted to do? What about that coming up? I'm like, okay, I've already put you in my planner, or I've already put you on a list of things to do. You're taken care of. I don't have to keep remembering you. So the point of talking about all this mental chatter is it brings us back to the point of mental load. So if you've got all these tasks in your mind, you're keeping up with all this, that's mental load. And you've got to sort of find a way to calm that down a little bit and stop having to keep tabs all of the time. And it's basically you acting as if you're the office manager. You probably are the office manager of your life, but even office managers, they have time off. So you've got to be able to give yourself some time off in a way to calm that down a little bit. It may help you to recruit other people to do some of that, because it shouldn't be all on one person to be the office manager of the whole house anyway, but just recruit other people to do certain jobs and just say, hey, this is your task. I'm not going to remind you to do the task. This is your task. So you have to own when that task is going to be done. I know that that is a simplification, and especially if you have children who are just not going to remember to do things. But maybe this is a good way to teach them how to own tasks and how to be responsible and things like that. I don't know. I'm not a kid expert. Our kids are grown. But my idea is that to just get others to own tasks instead of you trying to keep up with all of that inside of your own brain, disseminate some of that stuff to other people and let them own that. So if you are a perfectionist and you like things done a certain way, you're just going to have to either give up some of that control, or you're going to have to realize that maybe you're just always going to have to be the manager of all of these things. So let's talk about decision fatigue. So once 4 o'clock in the evening comes around, you've probably made at least 300 micro decisions, like little things. What am I going to put on my salad? What am I going to wear? What kind of coffee flavor am I going to use today? What am I going to say when I call this person on the phone? All of these things. And then when you get home and it's like 4 or 5 o'clock, you're just like, what am I going to eat for dinner? That's another decision. Well, you've made all of these decisions throughout the day, in addition to all the other work you've done and all the other brain power that you've used up. It's hard. It just gets harder as the decisions go throughout the day. And honestly, that can put you in a bad mood. And sometimes you don't even know why you're in a bad mood. And it might just because you're feeling cranky because your mind is fatigued because of all the decisions you've been making all day. So here's what can help that. First, let some of the other people that live with you, if you don't live alone, have them deal with some of those decisions. Now, I'm not talking about letting other people make personal decisions for you. You got to make your own personal decisions. I'm talking about things that you don't have to take care of. So for example, dinner. So I don't like to cook. I love to bake, have a baking channel, all that kind of stuff. I love to bake. But if we have to cook dinner, I'm just not going to do it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make my famous chicken nugget tacos. And if you want that recipe, I'll give it to you right here. You can skip forward if you don't care. You take chicken strips, good chicken strips. You cook the chicken strips however you want to do it, air fryer, bake them, microwave them, don't care. Put them in a flour tortilla or corn if you prefer, and then you put some salsa verde on there, some cheese, whatever you have, some shredded cabbage or whatever, some ranch sometimes. I mix it up. You can put whatever you want to in there. Sometimes I'll put black beans in there. That's good too. Chicken nugget tacos. They're pretty amazing. But probably I shouldn't eat chicken nugget tacos every day. It's probably not a good idea. So because I don't want to eat chicken nugget tacos every night, and my partner doesn't either, he takes care of the food because I just don't want to make that decision, and I'll just make something super quick or just heat up something because I don't like to do it. Now, am I a little bit pickier in the food department than he is? Yes. You wouldn't think so because of the chicken taco thing, but I am. He likes the meat and potatoes kind of thing, and I'm just not that much into that. However, he has control over whatever we're making for dinner. He tries to make things that both of us will like, and that has lessened some of the decision fatigue. Now, if you don't have another person that lives with you that can take care of some of those decisions, that's different. However, what you can do is like on a weekend or something, make yourself a list of favorite meals that you like to make, and then just set yourself certain days for those meals. And then you don't even have to think about it. It's the same thing that I do with my clothes. On Sunday nights, I go in my closet and I pick out what I'm going to wear for the entire week because I'm not a morning person. I do not want to do anything or make any decisions in the morning. They would be terrible decisions if I did. My decision would be to go back to bed and then not go to work. And I can't do that. So I pick out all of my clothes ahead of time and then I don't have to think about it. So that's just a couple of examples. You can't really do this with all decisions, but some of them you really can offload to either another person or maybe to yourself, but in a time when you're not decision fatigued. Okay, sensory overload is probably one of my biggest issues. Everything is super loud to me, and I feel like it's just getting worse and worse the older that I get. I feel like I can hear every dog in the neighborhood. They're driving me crazy with their incessant barking, and then I hear the bumping with the radios all the time, and it just, like, everything is in there vying for my attention, and it's not necessarily that it's so loud, that everything's so loud, but it's just constant little thing. Hey, listen to me. Hey, listen to me. It just seems like noise, a cacophony of noise, background noise all the time. So what could help with this? I wear earbuds all day long, almost all day long. And I know some people say that there's like EMFs or whatever the crap that is. I don't know anything about that. I don't know if studies are actually legit about that. You're going to have to do what you think is best for you. But for me, I'm okay with it. I just wear earbuds all day and that drowns out any of the other sounds. It allows me to concentrate on whatever job that I'm doing. So I do work from home and I have to concentrate and I have a hard time blocking out sounds that are around me so that I can concentrate. So the earbuds really help. And if I am particularly distracted or feeling a little bit testy, like I'm just feeling stressed out, there's chaos all around me, then I will put my noise canceling headphones on. And these headphones are not like electronic, that's an old term, I'm sure. But you know what I'm saying? Like they don't have any sound that comes out of them. They're literally just like earmuffs, basically, that block out the sound. And so they're over the ear. It makes me feel kind of cocooned. And sometimes I will even have my earbuds on with those over that. So, I mean, that is some serious business right there. But those help a lot. It drowns out all of the sound. I'm able to concentrate on what I'm doing so much better. And it sort of gives me this calm feeling when I have them on because it is blocking everything else out. All right, so the next problem could be if you keep forgetting stuff like tasks or calendar appointments, like doctor appointments and things that you're supposed to be doing, you're going to feel like your life is chaotic. That's just how it's going to feel. So it really does help to have a planner or a calendar. You can use a printed calendar, a printed planner. You can use like one on your phone or one on your computer, whatever is easiest for you. In the past, I have used a paper planner, but because I have reoccurring tasks, I switched to an electronic one or just one on the computer. So I can use it on my desktop and I can use it on my phone. And I'm happy to do a tutorial about what I use. I use a calendar from Google, just Google Calendars. And then I use Asana, which is a task management system. It's not hard to set up, but if you have recurring tasks that you don't want to remember over and over and over, you can set it up easily and it reminds you without you having to remember them. You can also do things on certain days. So like Friday, grocery shop, or Monday, you're going to make your meal plan for the rest of the week, or, things like that. So that's also an option. And after you do those things for a period of time, you sort of get into the habit and it's just natural. But that can kind of calm down that chaotic feeling. And another thing I like to do is on Sunday evenings, while I get everything ready for the week, so I'm getting out my clothes and everything that I'm going to wear for the week, and I do something called a focus doc. That's what I'm calling it. It's just a focus document where I list out all of the things that I'm going to focus on that week. Now, it doesn't have every little task that I need to do or my recurring tasks, but it's those goals, basically the important things that I need to get done that week. Let's say I have a doctor appointment and I need to fill out some forms for that. That's on my focus doc. If I want to record, I've got to record a video for this YouTube channel. That's on my focus doc. I need to finish out whatever project it is that week at work. That's on my focus doc. So that's what I do. I write down my main goals for that week on that focus doc, and that kind of helps me be able to prioritize, especially when every day you might feel overwhelmed when you're starting your workday or whatever it is. You can go back to that focus doc and that it does exactly what it says it's going to do. It helps you focus on those things that are really important for you that week, and you can calm everything else down. And by the way, you don't have to write this on actual paper. I do, because the act of writing it down helps solidify it in my brain, in my memory. But if you don't need to do that, you don't have to. You can put something in your phone, like your goal list of the week or whatever, and then call it a fun name. Mine is kind of boring, focus doc, but it's basically what it is. So that's what I call it. So I am very good at multitasking, and I mean really good. I can watch a movie and I can work on my computer, and then I can scroll on my phone, and then sometimes I might crochet a scarf at the same time. I am excellent at it. The only problem is that I'm not going to know what the storyline of the movie is about. I'm not going to remember what I scrolled through and what reel I watched or whatever on my phone. I'm not paying attention to whatever it is I'm doing on my computer. I've probably got tons of misspellings. So it feels productive. It feels like I'm doing a lot at the same time, but I'm not doing any of those things great. I'm feeling like I'm multitasking and I'm doing a great job, but honestly, I'm really not. Now, there are some people who are better at it than I am. Sure, there are, but you do have to switch back and forth. And personally, my brain is not great at switching back and forth that quickly. It takes a minute for me to shift gears and to go into that to another. And so I have found that if I try to, no matter how good I think I am at multitasking, if I try to do that too much, it's going to feel like there is too much chaos and too much stuff going on. So what I try to do is I try to do one thing at a time. Now, most of the time I do not win that battle because I have a lot of energy. So my brain is like a motor all of the time. For example, it almost physically hurts me just to sit down and just watch something on the TV, like a movie or a show or something, and not do anything else. I almost can't do it. So I don't make myself do that because that would make the experience really terrible for me because it just feels like I have to get up, I have to stop, maybe I'm going to go do some laundry in the middle of this movie. I might go do that. Or I've got to scroll a little bit on the phone. My brain just can't tolerate just watching a movie and not doing anything else. It's just terrible for me. But for other things, I have to do that. So if I'm going to write an article about something, I need to keep my full attention on that because if I do not, it's going to be bad. I just can't. I can't listen to something while I'm reading. It doesn't work that way. So I have learned, even though I want to think that I'm great at it, I need to turn off whatever podcast or whatever thing I'm listening to, and I need to just focus on whatever it is that I'm reading or writing and doing. All right, so we're going to talk about the guilt stack. Sometimes we have a ton of things that we're supposed to be doing. We know we're supposed to be doing them and we just cannot get to them. Or maybe we were just too tired and we chose not to do them that day. But honestly, we really cannot be productive 100% of the time. And if you're like me, I always have this sort of low level of I didn't do enough. I didn't get enough done today. Maybe you're not, and I wish I was that way, but I'm not. I just am who I am. But we're not machines. We're just not. And I have to continuously remind myself that we're not machines, that I just can't go all the time without rest. But some of us are like that, and we just feel like we need to get everything done, and we have things on our list and we are not getting them all done. We sort of pile on the shame or the guilt that makes us feel bad about not completing everything on the list. I used to have this coworker. If we saw someone come in, she had this thing where she would say, they just take real good care of themselves, real good care of themselves. And what she meant by that was that they didn't mind at all that they were just going to take a day off and rest and not do anything. They're not going to do a dang thing. It's hard for me to do that. There is nothing wrong with doing that. Taking a day off of rest. You need it. And there's also nothing wrong with being a person that feels like you need to be doing something all the time. We all have different personalities. Where it goes off track is when we're putting a lot of guilt on ourselves for resting when we think we should be doing like 100% of the time. And really vice versa. People who are doing a lot and they may also feel bad about not resting more. So it could really go either way. But here's the thing. Sometimes there's just days where we're just not going to be that productive, and it's just not helpful to put added guilt or shame on ourselves. And there are times where I'm just like, my brain is just not firing at 100% today. It's just not. So I know I need to do something or I'm going to feel bad about my productivity of the day. So I will find the easier tasks, the small tasks, the tasks that maybe can stack up, or the things that I can do that aren't going to take all of this brain power. That's what I'm going to try to do those days, because at least I feel like I have gotten those things done. In one of my videos, I talk about making the bed. If you make the bed every day, you've done that. At least your room seems semi put together. So that's one thing you can check off your list. It's really super easy. You don't even have to think about it. And if you just got too much on your plate and you are consistently behind, you're just going to have to know that you're not going to get all this stuff done. So if you've got someone that can help you with it, if you've got someone you can offload some of these tasks to, like we talked about earlier, go ahead and do that. Sometimes the tasks that we need to get done are not going to get done exactly how we want them to if we give them off to someone else to do, but it's better than them not getting done at all, in my mind. Well, at least some of the tasks. But you have to be the judge of that. But I'm just saying it really does help to give up some amount of control for certain things to let someone else do those things, if that works in that particular situation. All right, so I feel like these are not just like a one and done kind of thing. I have to continuously remind myself of these things. And I hope this was helpful a little bit. I don't know, but if anything, maybe it helped you name what could be going on, what that sort of low level feeling is. It might just be like this constant feeling of chaos, that things just aren't together or running as smoothly as you would like them to be. All right, so let me know what you think. And if you can relate to this at all, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.